Anti-geyser is disabled.
Stage 1 and Stage 2 tanks are pressed for flight.
High flow engine purge enabled.
T-minus 20 seconds and counting. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Electron just click the pad, save ground systems.
Beginning pitch over.
Stage 1 propulsion nominal.
Electron is full stream ahead for its 65th launch. Soon we'll be at maximum aerodynamic pressure as Electron continues to accelerate. And that max Q moment will be called out by the launch operators in mission control soon, so let's listen in.
Electron is supersonic. Approaching max Q.
High voltage battery discharge nominal.
Cleared max Q.
Confirmation from Mission Control, we have successfully cleared max Q and are on track to reach the next milestone, MECO, or main engine cutoff, in approximately 90 seconds. We are now travelling at 2,500 kilometres an hour and have reached an altitude of 22.8 kilometres and climbing.
MECO on Electron requires 3 critical actions to occur.
Guidance is nominal.
First, the 9 Rutherford engines on the first stage, which are currently powering Electron, will shut down as scheduled. Second, the first stage will disengage and separate from the second stage, falling back to Earth. And then third and finally, the single Rutherford engine on the second stage will ignite and continue to propel Electron on its mission to orbit. Let's listen in for those calls from Mission Control.
Stage 1 propulsion holding nominal. Stand by for MECO in 30 seconds.
"15 seconds to staging.
Entered burnout detect mode.
MECO confirmed.
Stage separation confirmed.
Stage 2 ignition confirmed.
ECOMs are in from Mission Control, confirming a successful MECO, Stage SEP and Stage 2 ignition, and everything continues to look nominal for Electron. We are now approaching fairing jettison, where you should be able to see Electron's fairing halves split and fall away after they separate. Now that we're through the thick of the atmosphere, we no longer need this nose cone to protect BlackSky's satellite. So, to save us carrying dead weight, we jettison them ahead of payload deployment.
Guidance is nominal.
Watch out for those fairings on your screen shortly.
Fairing separation confirmed.
There go the fairing halves, and from this view we can get a
Stage
good
2
look at
propulsion
BlackSky's Gen-3 satellite
Stage 3
integrated
discharge
onto the kick
nominal.
stage, exposed now to the conditions of space. Looks like the BlackSky team wrote a welcome to space message on their satellite as well. We are now reaching a velocity of over 8,800 kilometers an hour, passing through 138 kilometers in altitude. We've talked about how Curie is famous for its spot-on payload delivery, but what about the journey there? That's where our GNC, or Guidance, Navigation, and Control team, comes in. The GNC system onboard Electron processes a continuous stream of sensor data about the rocket's attitude or orientation, its altitude, and a whole bunch of other things right to the flight computer, which checks how far off we are from the planned flight path and makes tiny adjustments via the Rutherford nozzle positions and the Stage 2 reaction control thrusters.
Stage 2 propulsion holding nominal.
Electron is the pioneer of many firsts, including the first battery-powered rocket engine. The batteries powering the engine on your screen are our third-generation high-voltage batteries, or HVBs. The batteries were redesigned from the ground up, including new cells, internal and external structures, and internal logic, but have been made to be a fit-in replacement for the previous high-voltage batteries. Much like a lot of Electron, the external structure is carbon composite and keeps the batteries pressurized because of the high voltage inside. The batteries also have better performance, meaning we now need fewer on stage 1.
And now it's time for a power shuffle with the hot swap of those Gen 3 HVBs up next.
Throttling down.
HVB discharge holding nominal, approaching hot swap in roughly 30 seconds. Hot swap successful.
Battery jettison confirmed.
Stage 2
Mission
propulsion
control
holding
there
nominal.
with confirmation of a successful hot swap. We are now 6 minutes and 48 seconds into the mission and traveling at 15,700 kilometers per hour. All is nominal for Electron and its Gen 3 payload.
HVB discharge holding nominal.
All
AFTS
right,
has
T
set.
plus 7 minutes and 16 seconds into the mission, and Electron is continuing at full stream. Our stage 2 burn has about 90 seconds remaining, and if you glance over to the right of your screen, we're sitting at about 25% of kerosene and LOX propellant remaining. Right now, 25.8 kilonewtons of thrust are cruising us along at over 18,500 kilometers an hour, shortly bound for the orbital velocity number that we're looking for, right around the 28,000 kilometers an hour.
A quick speed and altitude
burnout
check for the
statement.
mission. We are now reaching 23,000 kilometers per hour with an altitude of 205 kilometers and climbing. That means we're nearing the end of the second stage's journey with second engine cutoff on the
Guidance
horizon.
in terminal, 20
During
seconds
SECO,
remaining.
the single Rutherford engine will shut down, followed by the separation of the kick stage with its BlackSky payload into a transfer orbit. Let's listen out for that call now.
Seeker confirmed.
Stage separation confirmed.
Nominal transfer orbit achieved.
Mission Control has just announced yet another flawless eco and confirmation that the kick stage has successfully separated and has entered its coast phase around Earth. That was the most energy-consuming part of our launch over with, but we're not done yet. The coast phase will last approximately 40 more minutes or so before the kick stage gets ready to light up its Curie engine and change its trajectory to a circular orbit at 470 kilometers above Earth.
For now, we're going to take a quick break while the Curie engine travels around to the other side of the globe. For the next 40 minutes or so, you can track the mission's progress around Earth with this tracking animation. After we return, we'll run you through a little more detail on the innovative Curie engine and its payload deployment for BlackSky's Gen-3 satellite. We'll see you back here shortly. Welcome back to our full stream ahead mission for BlackSky on Electron's 65th launch. Today's mission soared into the skies at 11:57 local time from Launch Complex 1, Pad B, just 47 minutes ago. Electron breezed through all of the usual launch milestones like max Q, MECO and stage separation, battery hot swap, and then SECO and kick stage separation from the second stage, placing the kick stage and its payload into an elliptical transfer orbit of Earth.
The team in Mission Control are eagerly waiting the next milestone, which is Curie engine ignition. We've got a burn of just under 3 minutes today, and then 45 seconds later, we'll have Curie shutdown and then payload deployment of BlackSky's Gen-3 satellite. Ignition should be coming up in just a few moments, so let's throw it over to Mission Control and listen for them.
Curie ignition confirmed.
Confirmation from our operator there, successful Curie engine ignition. Now, the Curie burn duration is always an approximation, and that's because Electron is basically running itself. From T minus 2 minutes all the way up to payload deployment, the rocket is flying autonomously. Our extremely talented team programmed the flight computer to deploy the payload exactly where it needs to be. They'll work their way through making sure we have enough propellant at the various stages of flight, including the Curie burn. Running Monte Carlo simulations gives us various outcomes based on the parameters we set, but these are just simulations.
Curie cutoff happens precisely when it needs to, which today is approximately 51 minutes and 29 seconds after launch. Like Hannah said, the kick stage knows exactly where it needs to go and exactly how it needs to get there, and it's all up to the computer to make decisions based on the parameters we set. While today Curie will demonstrate our pinpoint accurate payload deployment record, it's been a very busy engine recently, proving out our spot-on re-entry missions with our Pioneer spacecraft, providing a perfect round trip to space. It was our second developed engine, also 3D printed like the Rutherford, and it joins our full lineup of 3D printed engines along with the newest addition, Archimedes.
You might recognize a trend here. All of our engines are named after famous physicists. All right, there's not long to go now in this kick stage circularization, so let's check back in with Mission Control.
Curie cutoff confirmed.
Nominal final orbit achieved.
There we go. Confirmation from Mission Control. Shutdown of the Curie engine means the payload deployment is up next. In around 30 seconds, we'll deploy the next Gen-3 satellite as part of BlackSky's Earth observation constellation.
Payload Gen-3 Unit 2, deployment confirmed.
That's payload deployment confirmed. Welcome back to space to BlackSky, and all the best with commissioning your next Gen-3 satellite in the coming days. That's our 10th mission complete now for BlackSky, and 2 for 2 on Electron launches for the constellation this year, though certainly not the last.
A huge congratulations to both the BlackSky and Rocket Lab teams for making this achievement possible. Hot on the heels of our previous launch just over 2 weeks ago, we promise there's plenty more to come. Stay tuned to our social channels to find out when and who will be launching next. But until next time, this is Rocket Lab Mission Control, signing off.